All right, this is Mike from Spotlight on Ukraine. I would like to welcome Denver from America. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Denver, I would like for you to tell me a little bit about yourself, how, what your life was like growing up, briefly, any military experience. If you would just start with that, okay?
Yeah, so I was born in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and I was kind of born into more of a conservative family. And I always watched war movies as a kid, and I kind of grew to revere those characters from those movies. And so I always thought that that was exactly what I wanted to do. And I only had one problem. The problem was that I had an operation when I was a kid, and that disqualified me from being military. So I had to find a different route, essentially. And yeah,
I
I was
mean,
just
so what was
military.
the disqualification? I mean, because I mean, I'm sure people would be interested to understand, you know. Did you try more than one branch, or is it only one branch you wanted to go into?
Yeah,
Um,
so I only wanted to be a Marine, and I kind of made that decision like later on. When I really started to look into things, I just wanted to be a Marine because I learned about World War II and storming beach after beach after beach and how they're called devil dogs. So that's kind of what I always wanted to be because I know that they're the ones who lead the charge, right? So that's what I wanted to be, and that's what I chose. And I got rejected from that, and I kind of just thought to myself, well, first off, we had a family friend that was a Air Force recruiter, and I had asked him about trying other branches as well, and he said it's very unlikely due to that. And I thought to myself, well, I guess that's probably just bad luck. I guess I'm gonna have to wait for a different opportunity. Uh, I thought about going police, and I went through college to become that, to get some sort of degree so that I could go through police academy and do something along that lines, or maybe be SWAT, something like that. And I kind of, with the whole political climate in the US, I kind of thought that was a bad idea. I didn't want to be a patrol cop. That was not the right thing for me. Uh, and about the time I was
really,
thinking,
I'm going to tell you, I mean, I think that's a good choice. I mean, I have a guy I was in the Marines with, and he's a captain in the Birmingham Police Department here locally.
yeah,
And, now Google Maps, when you're using Google to navigate, along with like all the other apps, uh, people can post where cops are sitting.
yeah,
And I'm like, Waze cut that out for a while, and I guess they allowed it back, but people are using these apps to attack cops.
yeah, that's just,
So, I mean,
it's
I'm not going to
ridiculous.
say, I don't want to say it's a good choice or a bad choice, but I think it's about self-preservation. If you think about it, you have to have a unique person and to do that. And yeah, yeah, I think it's something I don't want to do.
No,
Sure.
no, it wasn't for me either. And I was willing to do it, but hesitant and willing to do that. And about the same time when I'm going through college, I played football, rugby, basketball, so I kept myself very fit. And so around that time where I was going through college, I took like a semester off to just work. And that's when Ukraine kicked off. That's when I started hearing reports about how the invasion was going to happen. And I got in contact with the Georgian Legion, and they told me, yes, it's happening. It's going to happen very soon, so get over here as fast as possible. And well, I committed to it, never traveled outside of my country. And I committed to it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and I booked a flight. And what it was the day before my flight, Russia invaded, and so they refunded me my tickets, and I was going to Kyiv as well. So had they waited an extra day, I would have been in Kyiv on the day of the invasion. So I thought that was pretty interesting and kind of good luck by me. But they canceled my flight, they refunded me my ticket, and I was lost there with that. I was kind of in the dark in terms of being able to communicate with the Georgian Legion and try and figure out exactly what was going on. I lost contact with them. I don't know exactly what happened, but I thought to myself, well, I can either just go back to what I was doing, or I can just get bold and just go over there myself and figure it out myself. And that's what I did. I booked another flight, and it was the travel was I was inexperienced in terms of traveling. So that was a lesson
It's
to
a
be
big
learned.
awakening, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
if you've never flown out of the country and to go, I mean, I don't know what routes you took coming in, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's a big change, especially if it's your first flights.
Yeah, so I've traveled to Germany and flew into Frankfurt, and I went from there. From there, I went by train all the way to Ukraine. I took a bus from like the Lviv area to let's see, yeah, Lviv Oblast to somewhere to actually Lviv, and then I traveled from there. Um, but anyway, originally I tried the International Legion when I get there because they had a big tent at the border, right? And I tried that. I went through the whole process. They took documents and whatnot, and they saw I didn't have military experience, so they rejected me. And me and two other guys, we thought to ourselves, well, we're not just going to give up now. We're going to keep going until we find a unit. And I remember they kicked us out in the middle of nowhere, and it was like Farmville. And we asked them like, where do we go from here? And they said, oh, just walk that way. You'll find a big road. Maybe there will be a bus there waiting for you. And I'm like, okay. And we're walking through the farmland, and finally we find a road, and somehow we caught the bus fairly quickly as well. It was like the one bus every day. We got very lucky on that. And we went to Lviv, and yeah, we traveled from Lviv to Kiev, and then in March as well. Kiev in March. And then from Kiev to Kharkiv, just looking for different units and whatnot. And we had leads, like we had different places we were told of, but nothing panned out until finally we found, after a month of traveling, my first unit, which was the Karpatska Sich. And we traveled to back to Kiev, and we barely made it in time before curfew. It was like 11:59, or no, I think curfew was earlier. It was like 8:59, and like curfew was like 9 o'clock, and we just got there. And at the time I'm thinking, fuck, well, I hope at least they let us sleep on the lawn in front of us, like so we don't get arrested by the police and taken into custody. And sure enough, they put a contract in front of me, territorial defense contract, not like a legitimate contract, not binding, not paid, not anything. They put that in front of us, and I signed it. From there, we did like months of training. But
You started off with territorial defense in what city?
well, like it was just the type of contract they had for foreigners, right? At the time, it was ZSU. It was normal Ukrainian army. So it wasn't anything crazy, but they didn't have contracts for foreigners yet. They were still working on that paperwork. And so, yeah, I wasn't paid for quite a while. Uh, and that didn't matter to me. Um, I just wanted to get my experience, and that's what I did. And as so happened is that when we finally went through training and whatnot, I finally got to the front line later than everyone else because I had gotten sick at the base, and I showed up to one of the forward bases, and they finally transported me to my to where the guys were staying. Not on the zero line, but obviously, but a couple kilometers off of it. And I remember going over the hill finally, and I see the town that we were occupying, the all the guys were staying in, and I see a tank on fire going the opposite direction. That was like the first thing that I saw that was like really an actual war zone. And I'll remember that forever. I finally get to the base and I talk to my commander and he tells me tomorrow we're going on an assault. Do you want to go? And I had just showed up too from the hospital. And I said, fuck yeah, I want to go. Of course I do. And yeah, it was more of a recce, but that's how I got started in the Carpathian
Now, did
Siege.
they supply you with gear or did you have to go
Yeah.
with your own?
So I chose to bring a lot of my own gear. I chose to bring like a plate carrier. I didn't bring my helmet at the time because I got worried about bringing my helmet over through like the air travel. I got worried maybe they would make me leave it. But so I left my helmet, but I took a plate carrier and I took some other gear as well as like backpacks and whatnot. But they supplied everything that you needed. No, it wasn't the best gear, a lot of it, but they supplied it if you needed it. I got ponchos, I got everything I needed. So,
That's good.
but
Um, let's see. Trying to think. So you were there for basically one day, or not even a full day, and you went straight into an operation, correct?
yep. Yeah, it wasn't a full-on assault, but it was more along the lines of reconnaissance. The Russians had pulled back. So I was in the Kharkiv region near Izium, and the Russians had pulled back on our lines, and we didn't know exactly where they were. We had pretty strong confidence that they had pulled out of that area completely and retreated their positions a little bit. But we needed infantry to go in there and establish new positions. And that's essentially what we did. We went up there, did kind of a recce, found a position and stayed there overnight. And yeah, it was 22, so it wasn't like it is now where it's, you know, you can't move out of position. You're very able to move around and whatnot. And
I'm
it's not
I'm really
heavily mined. Huh?
I'm really quite surprised that they haven't attacked Kharkiv a with a lot more force.
Yeah.
I mean, had they have instead of trying to send the ones down into Kiev like they did in the beginning, if they'd have concentrated that onto Kharkiv, they would have had Kharkiv. But that it. I'm trying to think. I know why they did what they did because I thought about it a long time before this even started. I used to say, how would I do it? If I was them, and I thought, coming from the way they did down in through like where Chernobyl and all that was at, and coming down that way,
Mhm.
and I expected it to go that way, but I didn't think it was going to happen. I really, I mean, I was living there. I didn't think it was going to happen.
Mhm.
I got woken up by a friend calling me to tell me that this was going on. I didn't even hear anything. My phone vibration woke me up.
Hmm.
So, and we only, like I said, we only lived about 5 or 6 miles from Bucha and Irvin.
Yeah.
Um, so tell me, about you being wounded your first time. What happened to you? Where was this at? And what were you doing? What caused this?
Okay, so this was in that same village I was talking about. Basically, we had gone to position for several months. I think at that point, I was on contract. They sent us to Ternopil to get contracts, and we got contracts. And so at that point, we were on full contracts. We had been going to position and just occupying positions, just making sure Russians didn't, infiltrate our lines. And eventually it came down to August 24th, Ukrainian Flag Day, pretty sure. Um, they had been organizing this massive assault on the Russians. And we were going to be one of the first units to do it, as far as I know, in that region. Um, and the plan was quite bold. Um, We had had a Ukrainian unit clear out a tree line that was directly in front of one of our positions, like 600 meters from one of our positions. They cleared it out. The Russians had got out of there, but they had a big stretch of tree line that was pretty thick as well. That the first, I want to say it was one of the best tank brigades in Russia, occupied. And we went up sneakily somehow during in the middle of the day as well, and creeped up on the Russians. We ended up having the Ukrainians kind of like spearheaded at first, and they took prisoners. We helped them take prisoners, and that put us in the tree line that they were in. And the tree lines aren't like super thick, but they're quite thin, so it only takes like a squad to go down and clear that. And as we were going down, we took uh let's see, we got a hold of some vehicles as well. And we're kind of moving down the tree line. Things are going quite well. We're not encountering the next group of positions yet. And next thing I know, I hear gunfire and I start hearing bullets whiz over my head. Um, and we get into a position right before a clearing, taking positions to, protect ourselves and assess what is to come. And we take incoming fire, we get into a firefight, and after a little while, that ends. It's dead quiet at this point, and I'm laying behind a tree with my RPK. And next thing I know, boom, big explosion right next to me. Uh, it was pretty much like a meter away, something no, like 2 meters away, something like that, by my feet. And I felt something hot not too long after the explosion hit my back. And I kind of rolled over because I thought it was on fire. And I rolled back over and I realized I started feeling wet back there. I started to realize that I had been hit. And next thing I know, a big firefight broke out. Um, it was either, I'm pretty sure it was either a grenade launcher. uh, I am not exactly sure exactly what it was. It was chaos after that, so it was hard to determine. But the guys dragged me back to a trench, and that's where the medic stuffed my wounds. And I had a hole about inch and a half in diameter in my back. And they pulled me out of there and they had me walk back to get evacuated out of the area. And obviously, I'm in pain. I'm bleeding like crazy. Almost passed out on the way out of there. But I got out. I got back to the hospital, and yeah, that's what happened on the first injury wound.
So you went back home after the first injury, or was it? Uh,
Yeah. So like, I kind of had lost a little bit of trust in the guys that I was with because my documents and my phone, my documents, my wallet, everything had been lost. And I kind of lost trust in the Karpatska Siege. I lost trust in the guys around me. I don't know if it was a little bit from, the what happened, the trauma from that, but I kind of just stopped trusting people and I went back for a while. I knew I was coming back, but I wanted to go back and kind of take a
but
break.
trust is the most important thing you can have in those
Yeah.
situations. If you don't have trust, you have nothing. Uh,
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I don't know if people were stealing stuff or if your stuff got lost, or I mean, more than likely it was stolen. But I mean, and this was like a normal Ukrainian unit, or was it a mix of like foreign nationals?
This was a Ukrainian unit, but it had, its sect of foreigners in it as well. We had a whole platoon at our disposal at that time of foreigners. Uh, and it worked pretty well. We ended up being the ones at like the farthest positions in that battalion, so we did very, very well at that time. But yeah, I mean, I had some things go lost. Things went lost. I noticed one guy stole my jacket, but I don't think he stole it. I think he kind of found it. So yeah, things like that happen, I think, in any military unit.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, yeah, I've had one when I was in the Marine Corps. I've had video camera stolen out of my locker. Um, that was probably the biggest thing I think. I can't remember what else. I mean, but yeah, in the Marine Corps, I've had stuff stolen. So yeah,
yeah.
it's it's gonna happen anywhere. So, I guess a word to people who might be watching this is not just, one country or another. I mean,
Yeah.
it happens everywhere. So,
Yeah.
so you went back home. Tell me about going back home and how people maybe in your family received you. Like, what were their thoughts and things?
Oh, well,
Craziness, maybe. I don't know. That's what they would think about me and my family. They think, what are you crazy, But
yeah, 100%. I thought I was insane. Which I don't blame them, I guess. I immediately regretted it going back. I never should have gone back to the US. One of my buddies died when I had just left Ukraine, and it wasn't, it was kind of a rough time getting resituated. I knew I was going back, but I thought to myself, like, I shouldn't have even done that. My family, some of them didn't believe the war was even happening. Yeah, I know.
I mean,
And
yeah, this because the news doesn't. That's the whole purpose of why I do this or why I've started this is because my wife's saying, well, the news is not really showing this and this and this, and I'm like, well, and like you know, I'm telling her there's nothing I can change, we're here. And like, what can I do? And I'm thinking and thinking, well, so I started trying to network with people uh,
mm,
to do interviews and things. And I'm supposed to interview, I got to get with him, but I told you that I knew of someone. I won't say his name right now, but I mean, I need to get with him too. I haven't written him in probably a month and a half about doing it because he said he would do it. We just got to find a time.
yeah,
And with my work schedule now, I don't know how it's going to work because he can't do it on the weekends.
I see. Yeah.
I have no idea how I'm going to make that one happen. Um, but so how long were you in the States before you went back?
Oh, I was there for like 2, 3 months, something like that.
Now,
Not
I mean, I
bad.
guess you had money saved up, or was your family helping you get back, or
Yeah, so I had money saved up. I stayed with a friend
yeah.
in that meantime. So I kind of just saved money. I had money stored up because I hadn't spent everything that I'd earned on the front line. Um, yeah, I had money saved up and I eventually booked my ticket back. And that was, it felt like another jump into the fray. Uh, absolutely everyone was telling me not to go, but it's kind of just what I wanted to do. That's what I always wanted to do. I've, this time when I went back, I knew how much it sucked to be sitting in trenches, so I didn't want to do that anymore. Um, I wanted to be doing assaults. That was my main priority, and I just wanted to do assaults, nothing else. And I went back to the Carpatska Siege because I had promised them that I would come back. And I thought maybe I could get a unit together. All the English speaking foreigners had left the Carpatska Siege at that point because things got rough when they moved to the Donetsk region. And so I got back to the Carpatska Siege. I'm trying to form some sort of English speaking unit. I had a couple Italians with me, but ended up just didn't work out there. We occupied positions and for a couple days, but we didn't have enough people there to speak English. And that was also my first introduction to Donetsk, which was vastly, vastly, vastly different than Kharkiv in 2022. Um,
They've
Donetsk
they've been
is,
occupied basically since 2014, 2015.
yeah,
I mean, because I've been in that city back before in 2014.
really.
When I first came to Ukraine in April of 2000, I went to a little town, Bryanka, which is near Alchevsk in
Okay.
between Donetsk and Lugansk. And yeah, it was the first trip out wasn't bad. The second trip, I started noticing people at roadblocks with black ski masks and flying Russian flags. In the town center in Bryanka, they had changed from the Ukrainian flag to the Lugansk Republic flag, which was green and blue, if I remember correctly. Uh,
Hmm.
and I know now, uh, from a contact of a mother of someone I knew there that I guess they had I guess there's a lot of Russian troops in that town. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they're pretty well dug in that region because it's in between Donetsk and Lugansk. Um,
Hmm.
so I don't know what's really going to happen. I mean, I think there in those places like Alches, Bryanka, Stahana, and all these little towns. I mean, there's small villages, you know. I mean,
Hmm.
I I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty bad because those Russians have been there since 2014.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
all kind of places over in there. It's gonna be back to like World War II type battles, but with drones included now. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's an interesting place. I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, I'm sure it still is.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, so let me see. So did you did you already create or make a unit of English speaking once you got into Donetsk, or were you still just your first unit, or how?
So yeah, I had broke my contract back in 22 when I decided to leave and take a little vacation. And when I came back to Carpatska Siege, there just wasn't enough English speakers, so I ended up having to leave. and I broke contract, and I was kind of looking for different places to go. And one of my Italian buddies had suggested me the Legion, and he suggested Bravo Company, and he told me that he'd get me in. And I thought to myself, okay, well, at least it's an official route. It's notably
Joint
a
Legion or International Legion.
yeah, the regular International Legion, ZSU, uh, Bravo Company, First Platoon. And so he got me in there, and I remember I showed up to Kharkiv, and immediately they had me sign a contract, and I thought that's pretty good sign for this unit if they're just gonna take my experience as it is and just immediately get me in. It's perfect. That's exactly what I want. Um, and they transported me to a village in Kharkiv, and that's where I met Lucas.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I met him in that village, and we just did a bit of training, physical training, a little bit of like overview about everything that everyone needs to know about how to operate in this war. And after that, after like a couple weeks there, um, we went to Konstantinivka, and that's where we met up with the actual unit. We were kind of like the new recruits, looking to get to Konstantinivka so we could link up with the whole platoon.
Yeah.
And we get there, and immediately off the bat, as soon as we get there, we hear talks of an assault happening. And I thought to myself, well, awesome. But the last one didn't go so well for me, so I'm a little bit nervous getting back into things. And we start training and whatnot. We get into training, uh, different maneuvers, weapons training, everything. They're trying to get us assimilated into the platoon. And sure enough, we get the green light. I was in the middle of a run in the town, and I get a call on my phone, and they tell me to get back to base. And immediately they're like, "Okay, we're going to assault. Get your shit on, and we're going." And I thought to myself, oh, wow, okay, that's not an opportune time, but all right, let's do this.
Now, when was
And,
this? What month and year? What?
oh, this was, let's say this was July or August. My memory is kind of lost on this. I think it was August, actually. Yeah, it was August.
This is
So it's
22
been,
or 23 now.
yeah, 23. And the last assault had been nearly a year before that for me.
Yeah.
And well, we were tasked with essentially clearing the rest of a tree line out. Like we had a tree line that ended and had a big clearing with a field, and we just had to clear the rest of that tree line. And we get the green light. We're supposed to be the QRF because I was one of the new guys, and we were gonna hang back, and in case the guys needed any like I don't know, any equipment or any evacuations, we were going to be tasked with that. But the commander of the platoon said that they need more people, and I volunteered to go on the actual assault. Uh, we get up there to like the last known or the last Ukrainian position before basically the zero line, and from there, we commenced the assault. It was early in the morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that. It's still pretty dark out. Um, the sun was starting to rise. Uh, we commenced the assault, and yeah, we started walking down that tree line, and we just continued and continued, and eventually we got about to that almost to the positions, and we were all just kind of worked up, and we're trying to maintain our composure because everyone was quite excited to get up there. And next thing I know, I you see gunshots from the right side. We had a group on the far right side that had gone up the side, but we had a group our group in the middle. And I was behind my platoon, my squad leader, sorry. I was behind my squad leader and someone started shooting from the bush like 10 meters away. And immediately I thought to myself, okay, if I shoot in that direction, it could be green on green. That's a problem. But then I started to see a Russian in the bushes, and me and another guy, yeah, we ended him, and we continued along. Turned out that the gunshot was very close to my platoon or squad leader. He had a bullet hole. He had a bullet go right through his scope. And that was quite insane to see. His gun was rendered like useless at that point, or his sights at least. We continued. We cleared the trenches, or it wasn't trenches, it was more like foxholes, and we occupied them. Uh, and next thing I know, um, the Russians had no clue that it had happened, and they came up to reinforce the position. And sure enough, they were taken out, and we had the position for sure. And yeah, it was very, very good, very, very good mission. On the walk up, there was some scary artillery as well, like some heavy, heavy artillery. Um, I remember walking through the trail, and one shell hit right in the middle of our group on the trail. And it was so dead on in the trail that I had to take a step in that hole just to keep going forward. And they just continued to light us up. And so the artillery was heavy. And I noticed that on the walk out as well, that it was really heavy artillery. And I was quite rattled. My brain was like rattled. So that was kind of something to get used to. Yeah, we had one person that took a tiny piece of shrapnel to the shoulder, and he was fine other than a blown out eardrum, which was his fault because he didn't wear ear protection. Um, and yeah, that was our one injury, our one wounded man, and we got out of there, and it was, you know, a pretty good high after that, knowing that you took the positions, you did everything you wanted, and you came out in one piece.
Always the main thing. Come out in one piece.
Yeah.
Um, so let's see, because we had briefly talked about like I guess about you and your experiences with Lucas. Um, so how long did you work with him before he left?
Okay, so when I first got to when I first got to Bravo Company, he was going in as well at the same time I was. So I had worked with him from the start, and he was on that mission as well. We had trained together, and uh, yeah, it was pretty opportune time to kind of get to know him, and we became friends. Me and another guy, we kind of developed like the trio, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, we all trained together, we ate together, the whole deal. Like we did everything together. So we prepared for that next assault after that first one, and I was pretty confident in the whole group's abilities. And so I wasn't really as nervous anymore. Obviously, you're going to get the nerves still, but I finally found a group that I really trusted and that I saw everyone go on the assault and do what they needed to do. And I think that was a big boost in morale and everything. So I was pretty prepared for that second mission that was to come, but I didn't know exactly. I didn't expect what happened to happen. So yeah, it was. He's a good guy. He's a good soldier. He went a little bit Rambo on that mission, the first one, but I don't blame him.
You know, after talking with him, for hours and like, I I think he'd probably be a really interesting person to have around.
Yeah.
I mean, so I mean,
That's true.
I think we had a guy. I was in the Marines with my first unit. I remember the guy Vasconcelos. He's from I think from not San Diego, from San Francisco.
Mm,
His attitude or his demeanor reminds me a lot of Lucas. So yeah, I mean, you got to have that kind of person in there because
yeah.
I mean it keeps people motivated. The morale it keeps up. And he seems like he's a really good soldier
Yeah,
from what
he
I've
is.
seen or from what I've gathered from him. So um
Yeah, absolutely is.
um
Fantastic soldier.
so you got injured a second time.
Yeah, that was actually the third mission.
Missing
Uh,
out.
yeah, so like that was after that first mission, we did the second one with Lucas again, and that's the mission that he got wounded on, and a lot of guys got wounded on. Um, if you want me to go into that, I can, or I can just jump to the.
Yeah, you can go over that and then you can discuss about your plans, what you got now as well.
Okay. So yeah, Lucas ended up getting wounded on that second mission. Um, we had a similar task, go in, clear the tree line out, and it started off kind of a rough mission for me because we were walking down the tree line and I didn't have any night vision at all. And the platoon commander, who was the squad leader, who got shot in the scope, was leading the group. He
He
had
didn't
the
have night
night
vision
vision
either.
on.
He
Huh?
had night vision or he didn't have.
He did have night vision, but I didn't get night vision because we had like every other man had night vision essentially because it was
And you
sparse.
were still carrying a machine gun at the time.
Oh, I had at that point I had an HK 416, so I was just
Yeah,
basic.
I mean, I'm sitting there thinking if you had an RPK, you definitely need night vision because, I mean, those rounds going, we're talking machine gun. You need to know where your rounds are going.
So like I had a different gun when I came to the Legion. I got an HK when I came to the Legion, but the Karpatska Siege was a heavily Ukrainian unit, so we had Ukrainian weapons. We had AKs and RPKs, but
Probably sticking the corner for the heavy weapons anyway with that group. So
yeah,
I imagine so.
yeah. So I got an HK. I wasn't really taking anything too heavy at that point, uh, but my platoon commander, who had the night vision in front of me, didn't notify me that there was a big log that I was about that he had to step over. He did not relay that information to me. So I had tripped over that log and I hit my head so hard. Off the bat, I was concussed and sick just going in. As soon as we get out of the car, I'm already concussed. So it wasn't a good time, but we finally got to the town of Andreevka. That's where we were staying for the night before we commenced the assault to go further. And I slept it off, and everything was good the next morning. We got up the next morning, and I had not realized how destroyed that whole town was. I mean, it was completely obliterated. There was maybe two or three houses left out of like at least 20 houses minimum. Uh, and that was kind of a shock seeing that. Anyway, we commenced the assault and we started going down the trail or down the main road of the town and then had to cross the railroad tracks. And from then on, the groups kind of got confused about what was supposed to happen. And as we get up into the tree line, we took the right route, but the group behind us didn't, so we had to stop and that group did not notify us when they were too close. And next thing you know, we had two squads coming too close together. And next thing I know, I hear a shell hit, like not too far from me either. I'm sitting prone or I'm laying prone and I'm just kind of waiting for orders. And one shell hits, and I realized the group had been right next to us. And like, I don't know, four or five guys got wounded off just one shell. And so it was a bad situation off the bat. The platoon commander was wounded. He had to be evacuated. The 2IC had to be evacuated. I had a guy drop right in front of me. Uh, he got hit with shrapnel in the leg, and I applied the tourniquet to him. And, I didn't know if he was going to make it or not because he was getting super pale. Uh, but regardless, we had to get him out of there, and that was the worst, probably one of the worst walks I've ever had to do because it was raining artillery, and you can't leave your comrade. You got to get him out of there. There's no choice. You don't leave anyone behind. Uh, and it was painful physically, and it was extremely grueling mentally because you're just having to walk through artillery fire and getting through all the brush and whatnot. Like hearing the guy moan and groan and scream because of the pain from the tourniquet. And we finally get back to the town of Andreevka and we put him in like a bunker. And they must have seen us go there because they opened up fire like hell. Like there were at least four or five mortars targeting directly our bunker that we were sitting in. And I hear the rounds like they're hitting on the bunker, they're hitting near the bunker, they're hitting near the entrance of the bunker. And we had other guys that needed to be evacuated. So me, Lucas, and another couple other guys, we got out of the bunker to go find to go back across to go evacuate the new guys. Well, as we're going across, another shell falls and it wounds one of the guys. And I hop in the hole and I'm kind of lost in the whole situation. Lucas went forward to the positions. I was looking for the guy that was wounded so that I could make sure that he was okay. I'm kind of out there in the middle of nowhere, no one next to me on the front line, and more artillery starts falling, and I realize that he must have went back to Andreevka. So next thing I know, I just like start running, and I ran back to Andreevka to look for this guy to see if he was like seriously wounded or not. And at that point, they really knew they started just opening fire on both the positions where the wounded guys were and our position where our bunker was. Eventually, Lucas and one of our buddies of our trio, he both of them were wounded, trying to help the wounded guys on the position. So they got escorted out. They could both walk, thankfully. And I saw them as soon as they got back to the bunker. They were in rough shape, bleeding pretty heavily, but still able to walk. And we got the alert that a group had pulled those guys out, and they're in Andreevka. So we went and met those people at the point where they pulled the casualties back, and we started carrying the casualties out. And as we get to the tree line, the Russians had us not really dialed in, but they were trying to. And as we were carrying these guys out, there would be one shell in front of us and then one shell behind us. And they were just trying to time it perfectly so they just got right on the dot of all of our guys because it takes a lot of guys to carry even just one guy out. It takes a lot. Guys have to rotate. You get exhausted. You're already exhausted as it is, but you're having to carry a full-grown human being with all their kit and gear uh, through pretty rough terrain. So Eventually, we got back to kind of like a checkpoint area where a truck came and got us and the casualty and drove us out of there. And yeah, out of the 12 guys that were on that initial assaulting unit, only three guys were unscathed, were completely unharmed, didn't have to go to the hospital. I was one of those guys. So,
You can count your lucky stars, I guess you could say, would be.
yes, yes, and it would not be the only time I can count my lucky star after the next one.
Um, would you like to talk about briefly about what it is you're up to now and what your plans are for the future?
Yeah, I can also go into that third mission if you want.
Yeah, yeah,
Or I can
we'll
go.
go into the third mission, then we'll go to what you're doing now.
Okay. So the third mission was we were pretty battered, worn down group. We had one guy coming back from the training base who was solid. One of my good buddies, Eric. He was coming back from the training base, and we were pushed to be doing an assault to get to retrieve a body. We needed to take a position to retrieve the body of one of the fallen guys from the other platoon. And initially, it just wasn't a good plan. It was just a really bad plan. It was just kind of like there were a lot of Russians there, and we barely had any of the guys who we had been training with for months. So we were kind of out on a limb on doing this, and my buddy Eric, he was very intent on getting back to the fight, and he said, "I'm gonna go," and I thought to myself, well, I can't just let him go by himself. Like that's not something I'm going to allow my friend to do. I'm not just gonna let him go out there by himself. Even if it is a suicide mission, like we're here together. That's what friends are supposed to be there for. Uh, and I agreed to go on the mission. I knew it wasn't going to turn out very well. As we were walking, we had just gotten out. We probably had been walking for like 30 minutes or something like that. And he was kind of paving the way to Andreevka. We were going back through there, but he happened to step on a mine right before the town. And it happened right in front of me. I was right behind him. I ran to him, put the tourniquet on him, uh, got that situated, and then put him on a stretcher, and we were trying to carry him out. Unfortunately, the Russians had spotted us by then because we just took too long, and they sent an ATGM missile at us, and it hit the person right in front of me that was carrying the stretcher. Directly, it hit him. It blew up and killed everyone except for me, which is, I was knocked out immediately. I didn't even know what had happened. I woke up in the hospital and just to hear about like exactly what had happened. I had a shattered face. Something hit me in the face really hard enough to shatter it. And I had some other wounds as well. And sure enough, lucky enough for me, all my documents were lost again. So,
It seems like it's yeah, this I think after talking with Lucas now with you, I mean there's a lot of things that need to be fixed for foreign soldiers fighting
yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Um, with the medical side of things, communication between doctors and patients, it needs to be streamlined.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's also communication between the hospitals and the medics of your unit because I was caught in a position where I didn't have documents or anything, but they operated on me and they were a civilian hospital and they told me, okay, like we operated on your face, you have to leave. I'm thinking to myself, I don't have anything. Like I don't have anything here. I don't have documents. I don't have anything. Where do you want me to go? And they said, we don't know. Thankfully, someone from the Legion took me in, and I was able to get all my documents and everything sorted. But yeah, that was my last experience on the front line, on the front line. So
So now you're in the process of trying to get back.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
what are your plans for the future now?
Well, I want to take a little bit of a step back from doing assaults because I don't, that's a bit risky, I guess you could say.
Assaults need to have you need to have all elements of support. You
Absolutely.
have artillery, you need to have your mortars, you got to have helicopters, you need airplanes, and without, you know, in the Marine Corps, I can say, having been infantry, I know in the beginning we always we would always say, well, we're the better of the Marines or what have you, and but in reality, um, we look at it as like as a machine. Well, the machine don't operate without parts. So, I mean, if you got like what you guys were, y'all were infantry. So, but and that's one part of the machine, but without the air support in some form or fashion, the ground troops can't do much because they can't
Yeah.
do it without support. They can't do it without the proper, yeah, proper artillery, the proper, I mean, everything.
Yeah.
I also understand the Russians are using weapons that have been supposedly have been banned. I guess, well, I mean, I know they've been banned. I know, like white phosphorus, I was under the impression had been banned from warfare. Cluster bombs supposedly have been banned. Russians are using them on, I mean, in towns. I mean, a town I used to visit all the time, uh,
Yeah.
Chernigiv. I've watched
Yeah.
videos, cluster bombs hitting in Chernigiv, and I'm like, you know, why aren't we doing anything? Um,
Mm.
I always say, and I will say again, and I'll probably say it on every episode that I don't want to be political about anything, but I do think um, the American government needs to take the lead and put a stop to this, and not by giving Russia what they want.
No.
There was the Budapest Memorandum, which I'm sure you're very well aware of by now,
Yeah.
and we're not honoring that.
No. Not at
Um,
all.
and I mean, England's also guilty, but I mean, England can't do so much. Uh,
Mm.
and Russia, one of the other people who was part of the agreement. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm gonna have to make a pause. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about what you're going to be doing next? What your plans are for the future?
Yeah. So right now I'm in Kiev. I just got done with the drone course. And I'm looking to do more drone courses potentially. I have a friend of mine who's a translator for me in one of my past units. I'm having him, he's going to a unit and he invited me to join him in the drone unit. And I'm trying to learn the ropes. In that unit where I met him, I did training. Never got out to the front line. That was back in April. I started that. That kind of fell through from complicated reasons, but I met him and did some training with drones, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. I'll go with him, and we'll do some drone missions and whatnot, and I'll find my own way uh, to help in this war further without being as full in it as I'm used to doing. My girlfriend would not like me to go back to doing that. So yeah,
I mean,
uh,
I mean, I think with drones and I mean, it's always, I mean, I don't know what type of drone. You talking like FPVs or the other type or most of the
no,
FPVs?
I would like to do a little bit of everything, honestly. I don't know exactly what the unit's going to have at its disposal yet. I know that FPVs and Mavics will be available, but if I could get into the bigger reconnaissance drones as well, that would be great. That's something I would absolutely like to have experience in. I'm kind of just trying to get a grasp of all the new technology that's changing warfare right now for the future. Um, I think that's important
Because
as well as being a normal soldier.
I think when you don't have disposal of air support, and I mean, you have to make do with other ways. And I think it's one thing Ukraine has shown: if you don't have an air force, um, or air support, or an air force, I mean, they do have an air force, but it's very not even the size of a full wing, probably, and or squadron uh,
Hmm.
in the States. But I mean, they've made do. I mean, they've at least stopped the advancement. Um, so I'm hoping that we will uh, be able to get enough support, for Ukraine, through other means. If the United States and England doesn't honor the Budapest Memorandum, that maybe somebody will realize that it's not going to stop with Ukraine. I saw on YouTube yesterday where Putin said that they want to take all of Ukraine. So
Yeah.
if they and if he's, I mean, I know that was their original plan anyway. I mean, you would not go in and attack on the first, or start trying to attack toward the capital on the first part of the invasion when it first started in 2022 if you didn't have intent of taking the whole country.
Yeah. They wanted to cut the head off the snake.
I mean, and that I don't know. I think maybe if they had done things a little differently, not put so many people on the eastern border, and then had taken control of Kiev, then the whole outcome would have been completely different now at this point. Um,
Yeah.
so, I mean, I think that they thought it would be better to put more mass on the eastern side.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess they did things similar to what I thought I would do, but now hindsight, looking back, they should have brought all that they had on the east right down the middle,
Probably, yeah.
and then if you would have cut off more than half the country, because I
Yeah.
think their plan, they want the farmland, they want all the resources.
Absolutely.
Well, and also to erase the history of Ukraine. They want to erase
Yes.
it as well. Um, so I guess I want to thank you for your time. We're going to end this portion, and then we'll continue on with the other portion. Okay.
Yep.
So
Sounds good to
anyway,
me.
I would like to
Thank you for getting me.
thank Denver for being on the show, and I'm sure we'll see him again. All right. Thank you.